What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dante back again with another video. Uh, Pardon me, I'm in a pretty good mood. I hope y'all are too. Um, just got my t-shirts in. As you all know, if you don't know, I have my own clothing brand. It's called Fueled by Faith. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to check it out. But today I'm going to be responding to a video that I caught my ear recently. There was a podcast. It's called I Never Knew. And the host, Junior, is a really good host. He has some very insightful questions. And he had an NBA veteran on his podcast, Lawrence Funderburke, who played in the league about 8 years. He's talking about what it's like being married as a professional athlete, and Junior had asked him a very interesting question. He's like, well, actually, it was more of a statement than a question. He just basically said that he don't think it makes sense for athletes at a certain caliber to even get married. It just doesn't make sense. Probably, I'm assuming business wise, financially, he thinks that it's just probably not a smart move. But we're gonna get into the we're gonna get into the interview. We'll give my thoughts on it at the end of the video. I would definitely appreciate you guys' thoughts and your comments on it as well. So, without any further ado, let's get into it.
I don't think professional athletes should get married,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
I don't think they should.
Well, why? You got because you
All right.
come on.
Unless it's like you met this lady in high school or something.
Okay.
This is the thing.
Okay. I see where
The
you
time
go.
you need to make a marriage work. It's like you're playing marriage. You have to be so, you know this. You have to be so committed to that craft to stay in the league.
Yeah.
Is it kind of realistic to provide what's needed to sustain a family?
That's a great
And
question.
can you rebuild the family when you have time?
Yeah. So I wear this. It's got a bunch of diamonds and gold and white gold, yellow gold, and in terms of being married, in terms of being committed. So I'm going on. It'll be 27 years. It was August 11th, 1998. Almost 3 decades. Yeah, almost 3 decades. Right? Hasn't been perfect. There's been some turbulence, of course. But I realized we did meet in college. We didn't have a prenuptial agreement. Now, I tell people, you want my professional opinion or my personal opinion, right? Professionally, when obviously you come in as money, hey, you might want to think seriously and consider this prenuptial agreement just in case things don't go right. But there's also that cloud too of we can get out of this because of that, right? So it's a kind of a perpetual storm cloud possibly hanging over that. But personally as well, you got to get a chance to know the person. That's why I told my wife, I said, look, I said, you ain't going nowhere and I ain't going nowhere. There was a old group back in the day, or a duo, Sonny and Cher. And I got you, babe. There was a song, I got you, babe. No, I got you. Now, I don't hold my wife hostage or anything like that. But I think there has to be a level of commitment that you have to have. And
I think it's definitely dope that he found his wife in college, or they kind of connected around that time, because I'm pretty sure those were like those struggle years. He probably was just practicing trying to get to the NBA, so she witnessed the long hours in the gym. Him studying playbooks and probably eating the most undesirable meals at the time, because you don't have it. You're a college kid. You're just trying to get it out the mud, right? And then also, you can vet a person better at that stage of your life, because granted, there are some people that are just hoping that you make it to the league, so they're gonna tag along for the ride in hopes that you make it big and they can be a part of your success. But not too many people are going to go through that with you. Like, they gonna be moving on to the person that's already either almost at that level or they are already there. So I think a professional athlete is definitely more hard to know, if when you're meeting someone, if it's sincere and genuine, if there are any ulterior motives. Like, all those things come into play once you become a successful athlete. And you know the family laws and all that stuff, the way they're structured now, is definitely not set up in the benefit of men. Obviously, it's more beneficial to the women. and some will even argue that some of those laws may need to, may need to change at some point. But this is definitely an interesting conversation to be had, and I definitely want to see what his experience was as a professional athlete, because it could be treacherous, man. Women throwing themselves at you every city you go, man. Is tough. But let's continue.
marriage. But I do understand what you're saying because something's got to give. You're saying, how can I be committed to this craft or wanting to be great and wanting to be excellent each and every day, and at the same time give 100% of myself to this particular individual who we're one? But I just think for a lot of guys, and I'm thinking of for a lot of guys too who have very addictive personalities, having a wife for me was good because I took my wife with me. She traveled.
Cool
She
everything out.
huh?
Cool everything.
Yeah, she traveled. She traveled. Some of the guys didn't like that, right? Because hey, Miss Funny coming. Look, man, look, hold on. No, I said, look, I almost got into it with a couple guys. I said, look, whatever you got going on, that don't have nothing to do with my wife. That don't have nothing to do. My wife's not a snitch. She's not there to tell on it. That none of that. I told her. I said, Manya, and her is Arabic. It means ultimate.
Yeah, those were the dudes that was out there, doing what they do, man. They throwing it at you, man. So it's hard for a lot of guys to turn that down. A lot of guys don't have that thick discipline. So women coming at them left and right, and it's easy. They don't really got to say much. They sitting courtside, just hoping that they can make eye contact with you and all that stuff. So yeah, you on the road with your wife. They like, yo, she know our wives. Like, why you bringing her? So yeah, it can get a little tricky, man.
Wish in Arabic. I said, look, that don't have nothing to do with you. Whatever you see, that's on them, right? And most of them who had all the extramarital affairs and the mistresses, guess what? They're not married anymore. They're not married anymore. So I said, don't, that's their business. But it was hard because she was very close to their wives, right? And she saw. We go out to a restaurant, Ruth Chris, Morton Steakhouse. We look over in the corner. Damn, like that's my teammate over there, right? And
Play it
that's
cool.
not his wife. And then I had guys, we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs playing against the Lakers. I had a teammate, or maybe two, who made their wives stay in a hotel away from the team hotel, and they allowed their mistresses to stay in the same hotel as the team. That's some, I'm not a cussing guy, but you can imagine what I'm about to say. That's wrong. So you're setting yourself up for failure. And I agree. If you're not ready to be committed, you're right, man. Don't get married. No, but don't do it because if you're not going to buy into it, if you're not going to be committed in terms of that, right? Because my wife, she would travel, she would come in. And I know some people didn't like that, but I needed her there for me. I didn't care about what anybody else thought. But you got to make a commitment. It's got to be lifelong. And then for us too, as a family, in terms of our religious connection, that is what sustained us, right?
He's 100% correct. Like, if you're not ready for that type of commitment, just think about this. You worked your entire life to get to a certain point. You finally make it. You making millions and millions of dollars. You finally able to get your parents that nice house. You finally drive that nice car that you probably been looking at in magazines as a kid, only to, get the wife that you want, mess it up. She ended up taking half, almost everything that you worked so hard to get. Now you got to start all over. Like, you got to ask yourself, like, is it really worth it? So, to from a business standpoint, I understand it. Like, it probably don't make sense to get married unless you really are disciplined and know that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you have that level of discipline. But if you know you still ain't grown up yet, it's a lot of grown men who still living in high school mentally. Um, yeah, man, it's something you definitely want to think about, man, because working so hard to achieve all those things, and to lose it just because look at Zion Williams, man. Zion Williamson, man, perfect example, man. He just can't get right. and they just gonna continue to expose them. That's what they do, man. So
My mother and father weren't married. My wife's parents got divorced. So you see, you have some things working against us. But I do understand what you're saying. I think there's a lot more benefits than not, because if you're willing to make it work with the marriage, it can. The problem is a lot of guys. I mean, you see, you go to games, you see that, and if you still got that up in you, you're going to get caught. It's never going to work, because you're going to always be straddling the fence in terms of you wanting to be married and you wanting to be a player. You just can't do both. You can't do both.
How
Okay.
it's kind of like a revolutionary thing that you did, putting your wife on the road.
Mhm.
How did you get to that point? Like that's a big time decision. How did you get to the point where you said, babe, come on the road with me? Because that environment is very machismo, right? And there's a
Yeah.
code.
Yeah, it is a code.
And
Yeah,
you're not,
absolutely. No
you're not
doubt.
breaking the code.
No, I'm not breaking the
But
code.
you
No.
impeding on the code.
I agree with you, man.
So
I agree.
like, how did you make that
I agree.
decision to say this is what I'm dealing with?
First of all, I didn't worry about what anybody said, and then they weren't going to step to me. I'm not a tough guy, but I'm certainly going to put my foot down, and none of that stuff. When it comes to my wife and my kids, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take care of them and to protect them. But I do understand you're right, because a lot of guys felt like you're impeding on a code. I never heard this before, but you're exactly right. It is impeding on a code, because they feel like if I walk in the hallway, or if I walk in downstairs in the lobby, what if Mrs. Fundy sees me with my mistress?
that's them dudes that just they can't get right, man. They they ain't ready for that level of commitment, man. And a couple things you definitely got to consider when you choosing a wife when you get to a certain level of success. Um, you want to make sure you have someone that can hold their own in certain rooms. And what I mean by that is you want to take her places where she can mix and mingle with the people. She can have conversations with them, meaningful conversations outside of what's going on in the shade room and TikTok and what happened on the latest reality show. Like more, meaningful conversations, more in-depth conversations, and they're basically going to represent you in the best way. Also like what value do they provide? Any voids that they can fill, improve upon any weaknesses that you may have. Um, doing more outside of what you can already do for yourself. And I tell guys all the time, like, listen, you should be able to do just the basics. Cook, clean, laundry, all those things you should be able to do on your own as an adult. You shouldn't rely on a woman to do these things for you, because if a woman ever walks out of your life, you're gonna be rendered helpless. And you know, first of all, a woman coming into your life and see that you can't even do those things on your own, it's probably gonna turn her off anyway. But back to the point about is it a smart move for a professional athlete to get married? I don't know, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I think from a business standpoint, you really gotta be 100% certain that this is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. You gotta know, like, listen, you can avoid the groupies because they're gonna be coming, they're gonna be throwing themselves at you, they're gonna be in the DMs and all that good stuff. You gotta be very well disciplined and be like, you know what? I'm focused on this one. She does everything for me. She's my all in all. And these other chicks, they ain't about nothing. You know what I mean? So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. This is a really, really good conversation, man. Make sure y'all check out the full interview, man. Till next time. Peace.